I'm Robert Reporter, the reporter with a repertoire of reports in his reported repertoire. MBE, OBE, BBC, OMG, can it be? Yes, it's me, Robert Reporter, the reporter with a repertoire of reports in his reported repertoire. Now, for those of you who are first-time viewers, let me tell you a bit about what we do. We do the news, not just any news, the most exciting, the most innovative, the most bottom-clenching news there is. Some examples of our previous stories: the llama who can recite all the words to Bohemian Rhapsody, the magician who pulled Gandhi out of a hat, and the apple that was shaped like a bum. Now, some of the more observant among you may have noticed that it looks like I'm sat in a rocking chair in my mum's house, surrounded by all of my mum's furniture. Well, there is a very good reason for that, and that reason is the French. So, on to our first story of the day. I went to Devon to meet a man. Over to you, Robert.
Hello folks, it's me, Robert Reporter, the reporter with a repertoire of reports in his reported repertoire, here to interview a man from Greece, Abdul.
Well, I ain't from Greece, and my name's not Abdul.
What is your name?
Trevor, innit?
Trevor, innit?
No, just Trevor, innit?
So your first name,
Trevor.
and your last name?
Trevor.
Right, so Trevor, why don't you tell us why I'm here?
Well, I was in my field the other day, and I thought to myself, you know the sun?
For those of you who are unsure, the sun is our natural source of vitamin D, light, and skin cancer.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I thought to myself, where does it go, Trevor? At night, does it turn into the moon?
For those of you who are unsure, the moon is as of yet undiscovered.
I thought some people walked on it back in the 60s.
And that's why they call you an expert, Trevor.
I'm not an expert, I'm just Trevor, I'm a farmer, innit?
And that's all we have time for today, folks. I've been...
Hey, hold on a minute, I haven't said what I've been thinking, innit?
I'm so sorry, Trevor, but we don't have time for that. The video's already 30 minutes long, and most people only have an attention span of about 5 minutes. It's already far too long for YouTube. So, handing back over to Robert in the studio, and I sincerely hope that he's not doing anything stupid.
Robert, you're on air.
Wow, what an enlightening story. I was seriously impressed. And now, on to something far more tragic. This is a story that is close to my heart. Coming to you from my hometown, Kidneyston. Run the VT!
This is Jimmy. He is an active, healthy, sexy man. He has various interests, such as gaming, dancing, provocatively, and magic.
What you've just seen was a reconstruction using the latest advances in CGI. Why did we do this? Jimmy was born with a rare condition, a condition which has held him back for nearly 30 years. You see, Jimmy was born with no bones.
We said that he likes dancing. This would be far too complex for Jimmy. Even the most simple tasks are extremely difficult for him. For example, Jimmy has realized he is hungry, so he decides to make himself a sandwich. He stands up, or at least he tries to, but then he remembers he has no bones. He then realizes this probably means he won't be having a sandwich today. or the next day. Or indeed the day after that. Fortunately, out the window, Jimmy sees his friend Simon and waves him in for assistance. Unfortunately, Jimmy is unable to wave since he has no bones. At this point, you may be wondering how Jimmy has survived so long on his own. I ask you to consider a jellyfish. Jimmy is much the same. However, he is not really alone, for he has a girlfriend, Martha. Martha always makes Jimmy very happy. It is therefore a shame that she is in fact imaginary. Lucky for Jimmy, his condition is also imaginary, and he is actually just a lazy sod. Get up, Jimmy. Get a job. It's no wonder everyone hates you.
You know, Robert, I think you're the best reporter in the whole entire world. Thank you, Mr. Sock. I needed to hear that. Robert! Hi! That was a tragic story, wasn't it? So, on to the next section of our show. It's time for the weather with Willy Weatherman, the Weatherman. Take it away, Willy.
Thanks, Bobby. In no small part due to the French, we are unable to show you actual weather from across the country. However, we will be giving you some animal facts, which may give you some clues as to what the weather could be like in your areas. Firstly, in Liverpool, the cows are lying down, which of course means that it's going to rain. In Kent, the otters have been seen hopping on 3 feet, which we can only assume is due to the humidity. Either quite a lot of it or none at all. In Derby, there continues to be no elephants, suggesting that the weather is completely different from that in Africa. In Glasgow, the haggis are running free, implying that there is a strong chance of gale force wind and a minor chance of flood. And that's it for the weather. Oh wait, one more thing. In London, acid rain. F*** you. Back to the studio.
No, Stephen, of course I'm not going to wear the hat when the camera comes on. I'm not going to make the same mistake again, am I? Honestly. Oh, for fuck! Next up, I got the chance to interview the smartest man alive. And let me tell you, I seriously stumped him with a brilliant question. Over to you, me.
Thanks, me. It's me, Robert Reporter, the reporter with a repertoire of reports in his reported repertoire, here at Cambridge University, ready to interview the smartest man alive. Smarter than Newton, smarter than Einstein, smarter than the man who invented fish. So, let's go and meet Jeffrey Gold right now. Okay, give me the camera. Thank you. Excellent. Hello, Jeffrey. How are you doing?
I'm very well, Robert. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So, there are rumours going round that people are calling you a colossal nerd. What do you have to say to that?
Well, I'd have to say that's a very unfair description of the appropriation of my intelligence.
For those of you who are unsure, what he said there was, that's a bit mean.
Well, that's a bit of an oversimplification, don't you think?
Anyway, we have some questions about your intelligence coming in from our viewers. Okay, let's see. What's the first question? Ah, yes. Question 1. Why is it that when you put a Mento in a Coke, it goes so fizzy?
Ah, well, you see, the effervescence of...
Brilliant! I'm already convinced that you know the answer to that incredibly difficult question. So, second question. What is a fart?
Ah, well, it's the expulsion of methane.
Yes, that's exactly right. So, the third question coming in from our viewers today. Why is your voice so creepy?
Now, come on, I thought this was a serious interview. Do you want to, give me an actual question, please?
Yes, sorry about that. Okay, yes. moving on from our viewers' questions. Sorry about some of them. They tend to be a bit dumb. Nothing quite like you, Jeffrey. So, Jeffrey, I actually only have one question for you today, and it should be fairly easy for someone of your intelligence.
Of course.
So, what are snails trying to do?
What?
Snails. What are they trying to do?
What?
Well, they must be trying to do something, mustn't they? So, what is it?
What?
And that's all we have time for today, folks.
What?
Here you see the face of a stumped man. He has absolutely no idea. But if I ever find out what snails are trying to do, you'll be the first to know.
Testing. Yes, testing. So on to the next story, please. Next story, please. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert. And may I just say what a lovely introduction that was. And I agree, this is definitely going to be one of our more intense reports. That's right, folks, it's me, Robert Reporter, the reporter with a repertoire of reports in his reported repertoire. And I'm sure you have a lot of questions. Who's this guy? Why am I in his bed? What's going on? The answer to all of those questions and more is coming up right now. So, this is Ben. Hi, Ben. Why am I in your bed?
Oh, fam, do you mind?
What's the problem?
You just got a torch in my face, mate.
It's not a torch, it's a microphone.
Whatever. Well, I emailed you, and I thought you'd come round like tomorrow or something to discuss this theory that I made. But instead, you showed up at 3:30 in the morning, and you just got in my bed.
Some of these facts may or may not be true. However, moving smoothly on, what's the theory you've come up with?
Well, my theory is that as time progresses, gravity changes. So, say, in the 1700s, you could just have normal gravity. Then, like, 100 years later, you could have, like, really good gravity, meaning that you can't get your feet off the ground, yeah? Or you could have, like, little to no gravity, meaning it's really, really, really easy to float away.
I see. So you're saying that over time the amount of gravity changes, so sometimes it's easier to jump, and sometimes it's easier to not jump.
Exactly, mate. And I've got conclusive evidence of this. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Well, basically, yeah, can you or can you not jump higher than you could when you was a baby?
That's true, but how does that explain gravity?
Well, when you were a baby, gravity was in its cycle, and it was like really, 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 really big, so you couldn't get off the ground. But by the time you're an adult, yeah, it's loosened up a bit.
I see. So you're saying that when we were born, there was far more gravity, meaning that we couldn't jump, but now there's less gravity, which is why we can jump.
Exactly, mate. And do you know what's stopping babies from jumping now?
I have absolutely no idea.
Vaccines, innit?
How so?
Well, basically, who knows what kind of stuff they're putting in those vaccines? Like, I don't have that kind of rubbish in my body yet, so I'm firmly anti-vax, mate. Now, I don't care if I lost a hand to leprosy or tetanus or whatever. I'd rather have a brain than a hand, innit?
Interesting. So, moving swiftly on from that tangent, do you have any more evidence to explain this shift in gravity?
Stonehenge.
I'll tell you what, folks, I don't know what he's going to say about Stonehenge, but my butt cheeks are thoroughly clenched.
Oh, I bet they are. Hey, whoa, no, mate, you better cut that out, yeah? That's going to look well weird. Delete that.
We'll certainly cut that out, since it will look weird. So, Stonehenge, how does that prove anything?
Basically, how did it get there, yeah?
I have no idea. I believe it may be the toes from the Easter Island heads on the other side of the Earth.
Mate, are you dizzy, bruv? Nah. Basically, it was just built at a time where there was like really low gravity. That's how they were able to lift all the big rocks and that. And also, pyramids in Egypt and that. How do you think the slaves lifted up all those big rocks for the pyramids? Less gravity.
I'll tell you what, folks. I've never heard such conclusive arguments in my entire life. It is absolutely certain this theory is true. Which leads me to my last question. Given the truth behind this theory, do you have any predictions for what it means for the future?
Of course, bruv. I've done extensive research, yeah? At least 3 pages over the last couple hours, yeah? I've deduced that it's going to happen again in like 60 seconds.
What's going to happen again?
Gravity's going to change, innit?
Interesting. And will we notice any of these changes?
Haha, well, no. Because it's going to affect us in virtually no sense except for one thing.
And what thing would that be?
Cows.
Cows?
Cows, they're going to float in it.
You think the cows are going to float?
I know the cows are going to float, bruv.
Amazing. Well, it seems like a better time than ever to hand over to Willy Weatherman, the weatherman, to find out what's going on with the cows and how it might affect the weather. Thank you, Ben, and over to you, Willy.
Cows everywhere! Cows here! Cows there! Cows are flying through the air! All my years as a weatherman have never prepared me for this! Laying down obviously means rain, but what does flying mean? I can only assume that Liverpool is
Oh, yes. Oh, and what's he going to do to me? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Have I been a bad Robbie Wobby?
Robert!
I'm sorry, I have to go. Yes, I love you too, Grandma. And for our next story, it is a true splishy, splashy horror, all about a stalker. Let's take a look, shall we? Are you ready?
I suppose.
Okay, well, there you go. Microphone's on.
Well, it started about a week ago, I think. It was just an ordinary day. I'd woken up at about 8 o'clock. I went into the bathroom to wash my face, and there I was, just washing my face. I looked into the mirror. I saw it. The duck. I was in such a state of shock that I ran out of the bathroom as fast as I could. It would have been fine. I could have forgotten about it. It happened again. And the second time was even worse than the first. It was in a place you should never find a duck. I went into the kitchen one day to prepare myself a delicious meal. I went to the sink to wash my hands, and there it was. The duck! It just keeps getting worse and worse. I can't get away from them. They're taking over my life. And what's worse is I fear they have a hidden agenda. They want to turn me into one of them.
I mean, how many times am I going to embarrass myself live on it? I mean, how stupid can I be? Honestly. Goodness. Right, come on, Robert. No more. This next story is about a tall dwarf.
Hello.
I'm afraid I have some sad news, folks. We're moving on to the last report of the show. But let me tell you, we've seriously saved the best till last. This one has science, intrigue, danger, me. What more could you want? So, for the last time of the show, time to hand over So Robert, take it away.
Thanks, Robert. It's me, Robert Reporter, the reporter with a repertoire of reports in his reported repertoire, reporting for the last time of the show. So, before we get started, I need to fill you in with a little bit of information to allow you to understand the full interview. Many of you may be familiar with this already, but for those that aren't, it is widely known that toast, when buttered, always lands butter side down. And the reason for that is, of course, that butter is made from cats' feet, and cats always land on their feet. So, I'm now going to hand over to our scientist to explain what's going on.
Hello, I'm a scientist.
Fantastic. So, scientist, could you please explain to our viewers what this experiment is going to be?
Well, toast lands butter side down, correct?
Yes.
What would happen if you buttered both sides of the toast? Would it land on the crust? Or would it just spin for all eternity? I believe this experiment is the key to unlocking unlimited energy.
Amazing. And what are the chances that that works?
There is a 99% chance that this will work.
And what about the other 1%?
We don't talk about the 1%. Do you understand me?
Yes, I understand you perfectly. So, many viewers may be wondering why we are doing this in a kitchen rather than in a controlled laboratory. Would you be able to explain why that's the case?
Of course. Well, as any good scientist, you'll be able to tell you. Experiments don't work if the test subject thinks it's in an unsafe environment. Now, the test subject, being the toast, needs to think that it's in a safe, home-like environment.
So, is this much the same as in quantum physics, where if a particle is observed, then it doesn't give the desired results, but when it's not observed, it does something a little bit weird? Is the toast our quantum particle?
Yes? Yes. Preparation for test 1. I'm going to get the bread, put it in the toaster. Robert, if you want to stand here while I do that. Bread. Commencing test number 1. It's the 1%.
Robert, this has been going on for long enough. We can't have you doing that on air again and again. You're done.
What do you mean I'm done?
I mean you're done. You need to wrap up this show and gather your stuff. Get out of my building.
Are you not going to give me one more chance?
You've had one more chance, and you've had all the other chances before that. It's gone on for far too long. Now get on there, and then get off.
Fine.